I stood still, next to the hospital bed. My wife, Claire, was holding the newborn in her arms. Her face was soaked in sweat, but she was smiling. A smile I once loved more than anything in this world. My mother, Diane, stood on one side. My mother-in-law, Patricia, on the other. Both of them were holding back tears. And me? I hadn't stepped forward. I hadn't touched the baby, because I wasn't sure if that child was mine. My mother looked at me. She didn't say a word, but her eyes said everything. A nurse walked in, holding a birth certificate form. "Mr. Jack Turner, I need you to fill in the father's name." I turned slowly, met her eyes. "We'll fill it out after the DNA test results come in. If you're a man, over 30, and you've ever felt betrayed, keep watching. This isn't just a video. This is someone's life." Claire didn't say a word at first, but I saw it. The way her smile faded, just for a second, like a crack in glass. She adjusted the baby in her arms, kissed his forehead, but her eyes, they darted toward me, full of disbelief, as if she couldn't understand how I'd just said what I said. Patricia gasped. She clutched her chest like I had just broken her heart. My mom, she didn't move, but her jaw tightened. She knew, or maybe, deep down, she already suspected it too. Claire finally spoke, low, controlled, but sharp like ice. "Are you accusing me of cheating? Right now? In front of our son?" I didn't flinch. "No," I said. "I'm not accusing you." I paused, just long enough to let her breathe. "I'm saying I know you did." Claire blinked, like I had just slapped her. The baby stirred in her arms, sensing the tension even in his first hour of life. "You're out of your mind," she whispered, but her hands were shaking. Patricia stepped forward. "Jack, please, this is not the time." Her voice trembled, trying to sound composed, but I could see the panic behind her eyes. "She just gave birth. You could send her into postpartum depression." My mom finally spoke, but not softly, not calmly. "You should be ashamed of yourself." Her voice cracked. "This is not the son I raised." But I didn't say a word. Not yet. I looked at Claire. Really looked at her. The woman I built a life with. The woman who, for the because I knee and then I raised my hand. The room fell quiet. Even the baby stopped fussing. I kept my voice low. Calm. Almost too calm. "Claire," I said, locking eyes with her. "Should I call your lover, Eric Dalton?" She flinched. Her entire body recoiled like I'd just pulled a gun on her. "What?" She barely got the word out. "No," she stammered. I have nothing to do with him." I reached into my jacket pocket, pulled out a folded piece of paper, held it between my fingers. Deliberate, heavy. I unfolded it, read it slowly. "My husband should never know about you and me. I want nothing more to do with you." The blood drained from her face. She didn't deny it. She couldn't. Instead, she whispered, broken and trembling. "He said no one would ever know." She started to cry. Not loud, not dramatic, but the kind that makes your throat tighten just hearing it. Claire clutched the baby tighter, like he could somehow protect her from the truth. Or from me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. "So you did sleep with him," I said. No yelling, just finality. She shook her head frantically, her lips trembling, but her silence said everything. Before she could speak, my mother stepped forward. Her voice wasn't angry anymore, just pleading. "Jack, stop." Even Patricia, still frozen, managed to nod. "What if the child is yours?" she said, her voice cracking. "You can't just assume the worst." I exhaled slowly. "I've known about the affair," I said. "For 4 months." Claire gasped. Tears streamed down her face. "You knew?" I nodded, and I waited, for the baby, for the test, for the truth. I looked at Claire, her face pale, her breathing uneven. She was holding the baby, but barely holding herself together. "I didn't want to hurt you while you were pregnant," I said. "I didn't want to risk your health, or the baby's." I paused. "But now that he's here, the waiting is over." Patricia was crying quietly. My mom wiped her face, exhausted, not just from what I'd said, but from what they'd both known and didn't dare confront. "I'll say it once," I continued, calm and clear. "If the baby is mine, I will be his father." I turned toward Claire. "But as for you," She looked up, eyes pleading. I'm done. I won't be your husband. I won't pretend. I won't live a lie. The room was silent. Even the machines around us seemed to pause. Claire was sobbing now, no longer hiding it. Her shoulders trembled with each breath, but I didn't move toward her. I had nothing left to give her. My mother looked at me, eyes filled with disbelief. You're serious, she whispered. I nodded. I've already packed Claire's things, I said quietly. They'll be sent to wherever she decides to go. Patricia gripped Claire's arm, like holding her daughter was the only thing keeping her upright. Claire tried to speak. Her lips moved, but all that came out was air. The baby stirred in her arms, let out a soft cry. That sound cut through me like a knife, but I didn't waver. I'm not punishing the child, I said. I'm just removing myself from what broke me. My mother finally spoke, but her voice was low, wounded. He's still just a baby, she said. He needs a father. A single mother can't raise a child alone. I turned to her slowly. And what? I asked. Go to therapy? Try to reconnect with the woman who cheated on me? Her lips parted, but I didn't stop. Sit across from a counselor who'll tell me I wasn't supportive enough? That I didn't hold her hand enough while she opened her body to another man? Claire cried harder. I didn't look at her. My mother shook her head. You're bitter. No, I said. I'm awake. Then I looked her in the eye. The woman who raised me, who told me never to accept disrespect. And I asked, is this the man you raised, or the one you want me to become now? My mother didn't answer. She just stared at me, like she was seeing someone she didn't recognize anymore. And maybe she wasn't, because I wasn't the same. Not after months of silence, of watching Claire lie to my face, of pretending, smiling, breathing next to someone I no longer trusted. I took a step closer, lowered my voice, not in anger, but in disbelief. You want me to suffer more? To pick up the pieces she shattered? I shook my head. A dry, humorless laugh escaped my lips. Are you really my mother? Or did someone just pick me out of a garbage bag? Her face went pale, like I'd slapped her with words she never imagined hearing from her son. But she didn't deny it. She didn't defend Claire anymore, because deep down, she knew I was right. I turned to Patricia. She was still gripping Claire's shoulder, like she could stop her daughter from falling apart. Claire wouldn't even look at me anymore, her face buried in her hands. The baby cried softly now, sensing the chaos he never asked to be born into. I didn't soften. I want her gone once she's discharged, I said, voice cold and final. She's not stepping foot in my house again. Patricia looked at me, stunned. I didn't blink. I've already packed her clothes, her belongings. They'll be delivered to wherever you're staying. Claire let out a whimper, a sound I might have once rushed to comfort, but not anymore. I turned to my mother. Her face was blank. You can do what you want, I told her. I won't stop you. I know you and Patricia are childhood friends. But don't force anything on me. No one said a word. Not Claire, not Patricia, not my mother. So I turned. I walked to the door, my steps slow, deliberate, like I was carrying a coffin on my back. And in many ways, I was. The death of my marriage. The burial of trust. The end of a chapter I never thought I'd have to write. Just as my hand touched the doorknob, I heard movement behind me. It was the nurse. She'd been standing there the whole time, watching, listening, frozen. Our eyes met. She didn't say anything, but there it was, in her look. Pity, sympathy, maybe even respect. I nodded once, and left the room. That evening I sat in my house, alone, no crying baby, no mother-in-law pacing the kitchen, no Claire, just silence. And it was louder than anything I'd heard all day. My phone buzzed. I didn't want to look, but I knew who it was before I saw the screen. Mom. I let it ring once, twice, then picked up. Her voice was soft, careful, like she was tiptoeing across broken glass. Jack, I don't support what Claire did, she said, but she needs help. Patricia does too. I'm with them, at her place. I closed my eyes. Of course she was. She's like a daughter to me, she continued. I can't just shut that off. I said nothing. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much. I took a slow breath. My grip tightened around the phone. Then I said it, clear, unshaken. Mom, The marriage is over. She tried to cut in. I didn't let her. Even if the child is mine, I'm done with her. Silence. That heavy, pressing silence that says I'm not ready to hear this, but I know you mean it. If you keep pushing for this, I continued, if you keep trying to bring her back into my life. I paused. And then I gave her the line I knew she'd never forget. Then consider your son dead. She inhaled sharply, but didn't fight me, just a whisper. I hear you. That was it. I hung up. 2 days later, I let my actions do the talking. My lawyer delivered the divorce papers to Claire. No warning, no goodbye, no emotional preface. She didn't call me, didn't text. But I heard from my mother. Again. She was furious. You blindsided her, she said. She's still recovering, Jack. How could you? I didn't argue. I'd already made my peace. I'm not punishing her, I replied. I'm protecting myself. I'd already canceled her credit cards, closed the joint account, took my share, left hers untouched. Our investments, frozen, pending court division. Not revenge, just boundaries. If she thought I was bluffing, she didn't anymore. That afternoon, my phone rang again. Mom. I let it ring longer this time, then answered. Her voice wasn't angry, not like before. It was something else, disappointed, shaking. You shouldn't have done that, she said. She's still healing. You've put her through hell. Then came the words she'd been holding back. I'm ashamed of you, Jack. I never imagined my son would be so heartless. Heartless. I let that word sit in my ear for a second. Then I said, quiet, steady. Where was her heart when she opened her legs for another man? Silence. Dead silence. Was she thinking about her husband then? Was she thinking about our marriage when she was lying to my face every day? Still, nothing. Just her breathing on the line, but no defense, no argument, because she had none. She was still silent, still breathing on the other end of the line. So I kept going, not yelling, just done. Stop blaming me, I said, because if I start holding people accountable, my voice tightened. You won't be off the list. I could feel her flinch through the silence. All this time, I was the one being betrayed, but I had to act calm, keep it together, pretend like everything was fine. For her, for you, for the family. But the moment I stood up, the moment I said, this is enough. Now I'm the villain? She didn't speak, not a whisper. I let out a slow breath, then said it, final and cold. I'm not playing that role anymore. Not for Claire, not for you, not for anyone. Three days later, the envelope arrived. I stared at it for a long time, longer than I should have, hands trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of what I already knew. I opened it, read it. Probability of paternity, 0%. You are not the father. That was it. 2 lines, 14 words. And the final nail in the coffin. No rage, no shouting, just stillness. I folded the paper, slid it back into the envelope, grabbed my keys. I didn't call anyone, didn't announce anything. I just drove straight to Patricia's house, because now they couldn't argue, they couldn't beg, they couldn't guilt me. The truth had arrived, and it was on paper. It took 30 minutes to get there, Patricia's house. I parked, sat for a second, let my pulse settle, then stepped out. Claire opened the door and smiled. Not a guilty smile, not a humble one, but a hopeful one, like she'd been waiting for this, like she thought I came back to forgive her. You came, she whispered. I knew you still loved me. She reached for me. I raised my hand, stopping her mid-step. Where's your mother? I asked. I'm here to speak with her. Her face cracked. That confidence? Gone. She stepped aside, letting me in. Inside, both women were there. My mother, holding the baby. Patricia, tense, pale. I pulled the envelope from my jacket, held it up. Read it, I said. To everyone. Patricia took it, hands shaking, and as her voice hit the final line, You are not the father. The room collapsed into silence. Patricia dropped into a chair, like the words had knocked the breath out of her. My mother stood still holding the baby, still clinging to hope, until the numbers hit her. She took the paper next, read it again. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Then, barely a whisper, Oh no. I let the silence hang. Let the truth fill every corner of that room. Then I spoke. I came here for one reason. To tell you both, stop pushing me. I looked at Claire, her face frozen in disbelief, tears trailing down but no voice left to use. I'm not the father, I said again. For the last time, I turned to my mother. I hope you're satisfied now. And even if you're not, I don't care anymore. Then, to Patricia, your daughter took that away from you. Claire stood frozen. Tears streaked her cheeks. But I didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't offer comfort. She had made her choices, and now she was standing in them. I told you once, I said, and I'll say it again. If that child wasn't mine, I would never be part of his life. I turned to my mother, her arms still wrapped around the baby. You hoped he was your grandson? I nodded slowly. Well, he's not. You loved Claire like a daughter? Then be honest with her, and tell her why she doesn't get to call me husband anymore. Claire let out a sob, but I didn't look back. To both of you, I said, don't ever ask me to raise that child. Then I turned and walked toward the door. Just as my hand touched the doorknob, my mother's voice cut through the silence. Jack, wait. I didn't turn, not right away. Her footsteps followed, slow, measured, then softer behind me. Drop me home. That stopped me, not the words, the tone, something in it had changed. I turned. She was handing the baby back to Claire, gently, like a ceremony, like a goodbye. Claire didn't resist. She took him, holding him tight, crumbling all over again. Then my mother turned to Patricia, her best friend since they were kids. I'm sorry, she said. I hoped he was my grandson. Her voice cracked. But Claire took that hope from me. She looked between them, then back at me. I need to be with my son now. She walked out before me, straight-backed, silent, didn't look back, didn't say another word. I followed, opened the car door for her. She got in without hesitation. We didn't talk on the drive. She looked out the window. I kept my eyes on the road. But in that silence, there was something else. No judgment, no guilt, no pressure, just space. The kind of space you can only share with someone who finally decided to stand beside you, not in front of you. When we pulled into her driveway, she opened the door and stepped out, paused, then left it open. An invitation, one I hadn't felt in months. I hesitated, then followed her in. The scent hit me the second I stepped in. Coffee, old books, lavender, that same candle she always kept burning in the living room. Home. She didn't speak, just walked into the kitchen. I heard cabinets open, drawers slide, a spoon clink gently against a mug. Then she returned, placed a cup in front of me. Coffee, with a bit of chocolate, just the way I liked it. I wrapped my hands around the mug, let the warmth settle into my fingers, into my chest. She sat beside me, quiet, like she knew the silence was what I needed more than words. Then finally she whispered, I'm sorry, son. Not for the first time, but maybe the first time it truly landed. She stared down at her hands, tracing the lines in her palm, like she was reading a future that no longer made sense. I made a mistake, she said. I never wanted to see you and Claire separate, but I was wrong. I didn't answer, not right away. Then I said, softly, but firm, I know you and Patricia have history. I get that. But while you were standing next to her, I looked up. No one was standing next to me. Her eyes met mine, and I saw it. The guilt, the regret. I wasn't accusing. I was just tired. And then, without warning, the weight I'd been carrying finally broke me. My chest tightened. My breath stuttered. My vision blurred. I broke down. Right there. In her kitchen. No anger. Just tears I didn't know were still inside me. She didn't say anything. Not at first. Just reached over and placed her hand over mine. Warm, steady, familiar. Like when I was a kid, waking up from a nightmare, and she'd brush the hair off my forehead and say, It's okay, I'm here. She did it again. Right there in that quiet kitchen, brushed my hair back, let me cry. Didn't try to fix it, didn't offer advice, just held space. And then she whispered, You did good. I looked up, confused. You stood your ground, she said. You didn't scream, didn't get violent, didn't cave. Her voice broke a little. I pushed you away, and you still stayed true to yourself. Then came the words I didn't know I'd needed for years. I'm proud of you, son. Her words stayed with me. I'm proud of you. They echoed, not loud, but deep. Deeper than anything Claire ever said to me. I sipped the coffee, still warm, still sweet, still familiar. But something tugged at the back of my mind. A detail. A phrase. Semper Fi, I said suddenly, looking at her. You said that when you hugged Patricia at the hospital. She smiled, not wide, just enough. A flicker of something old and unspoken. That, she said, brushing it off like it meant nothing. We were in the Marines. I blinked. You were... what? She nodded slowly. Both of us, me and Patricia. We served together in the Gulf War, logistics division. She looked toward the living room shelf, at a framed photo of my father. Came home, had you, never looked back. But her eyes lingered, and I knew there was more to that story. You were in the Gulf War, I repeated, still trying to wrap my head around it. She gave a small nod. We were just 2 of 40,000 women deployed. Nothing glamorous. Logistics support, supply lines, paper trails. But her voice had a weight I'd never heard before. Like the past didn't just live inside her, it haunted her. You never told me, I said. She chuckled, soft, wistful. I was busy being your mom. And people don't want to hear war stories from women. She paused, then added, especially not when they're followed by diapers and school lunches. I looked at her hands, small, weathered, and for the first time, I saw something more than a mother, more than a disappointed parent or silent supporter. I saw a soldier, a fighter, a woman who'd already lived 3 lives before she carried mine. She stood up, straightened her back, the same way Claire used to when she was about to lie. But this was different. She wasn't hiding something. She was choosing what to reveal. I was never just a mom, she said. I was never just someone's wife either. Her eyes drifted again toward my dad's photo, softened. Your father was a good man. Her voice cracked, barely. I came home, married him, promised myself I'd leave all the other stuff behind. But she didn't. Not really. It was there, in the way she moved, the way she read a room before stepping into it, the way she always knew more than she let on. You and Patricia, I said slowly. You didn't just serve together. She didn't answer, just gave me a look, a quiet, loaded look, and then turned toward the kitchen. Let me fix you something to eat. She moved around the kitchen like nothing had happened. Pan on, stove lit, eggs, toast, movement, as if we hadn't just peeled back 20 years of silence. I sat at the table watching her, but my mind wasn't in that room anymore. It was back in the hospital. Claire's face when I said Eric's name. Patricia's expression when the DNA results were read aloud. My mom, watching it all with the kind of calm you only earn from seeing worse, way worse. I started to wonder, how much of this had she anticipated? How much had she known? She placed the plate in front of me, no smile, no softness, just a single line. Eat. You've barely slept. I nodded. Ate. And for the first time since Claire's betrayal, I didn't feel hollow, just wary, because something told me this story wasn't over. Not yet. She sat down across from me, didn't touch her food, didn't look at me right away. Then, she spoke, quiet, measured, like she'd rehearsed it. I need you to listen. I stopped chewing. Something in her tone, cold steel wrapped in velvet, made my chest tighten. I wasn't just logistics, she said. In the Gulf. That's what they put on paper. I stared. She kept going. We were intel, me and Patricia. Black ops, containment, extraction. My fork dropped. You're telling me you were CIA? She didn't blink, didn't deny it, didn't explain further. Then she leaned forward and whispered, We're both dying, Jack. I froze. Leukemia, she said. Patricia started chemo. Mine's terminal. The room tilted. The walls closed in. You're just telling me this now? She nodded. Because now, you need to understand what comes next. I didn't speak. Couldn't. My mind was a mess of timelines, memories, all folding over each other. You're dying, I finally said. Like maybe if I repeated it, it would make sense. Both of you? She nodded, eyes steady. We didn't tell you because it wasn't time, but it is now. I swallowed hard. What does that mean? Now. She reached into a drawer, pulled out a thin file folder, brown, unmarked. She slid it across the table. Eric Dalton, she said. Flat, no emotion. The name felt like ice again, but not for the reason it did before. You think this was just infidelity? She continued. You think this was about Claire? I stared at her, confused, numb. She placed a hand over mine. Jack, we need you to take the child. Raise him, protect him. My heart stopped. What? He's not yours by blood, she paused. But he may carry everything we couldn't protect. I stared at her, like I hadn't heard right. You want me to raise him? The child that ended my marriage? Her eyes didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't soften. No, she said, I need you to. My voice cracked. Why? Why me? She slid the folder closer, opened it. Inside, a photo of Eric Dalton, not from the office, not from Claire's phone, but in uniform, black jacket, no insignia, eyes cold. Dalton wasn't just your wife's mistake. She tapped the photo. He was ours. I blinked. What are you saying? She leaned forward. He was part of our unit, and then he vanished, took intel, took lives. Her voice dropped lower. The child Claire gave birth to may not just be his son. He may be the key to what he stole. I sat back. The room seemed smaller all of a sudden. I never wanted any part of this, I said quietly. But now, you're asking me to carry it all. She nodded, eyes steady, unwavering. It's more than a child, Jack. It's a legacy, a burden, a responsibility. I looked down at my hands, fists clenched, knuckles white. You're asking me to be a father, to a ghost I didn't want. She placed her hand over mine again. We don't have much time. We need you. I sat in silence, the weight of her words pressing down like a stone. For years I wanted to leave all of this behind, the lies, the betrayal, the pain. But now, it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about something bigger. I looked up at her, and for the first time I saw not just a mother, but a commander. All right, I said, voice low but steady. If this is the mission, then I'll take it. She nodded, a faint smile flickering. Good, she said, because time is running out. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. No more running, no more pretending. I was a father now, whether I liked it or not. I grabbed the folder Patricia had given me, looked through the files, the pictures, the names. This wasn't just a child. This was a legacy I couldn't ignore. I called Kelly, told her what was happening. She didn't ask questions. She just said, "We'll figure it out. Together." For the first time in a long time, I felt something close to hope. I started small, took Logan to the park, watched him laugh for the first time without fear, met Kelly's friends, felt their warmth, felt her steady hand in mine. We weren't perfect, but we were real. Every day was a choice, to forgive, to heal, to try again. And slowly the past started to lose its hold. The pain was still there, but it didn't define me anymore. Kelly and I found our rhythm, a quiet, imperfect rhythm, filled with laughter and sometimes tears. Logan grew stronger every day, his smile a reminder of why I fought so hard. We talked about the future, about the kind of family we wanted to build. No more secrets, no more betrayals, just honesty, love, and a chance to start over. 6 months later, Kelly and I stood before our closest friends and family. The ceremony was small, simple, perfect. I looked at her, the woman who had stood by me when no one else would. And I felt whole again. Patricia was there, smiling softly from the back. My mother, too, her eyes filled with something close to peace. Logan sat between us, too young to understand, but old enough to know love. It wasn't just a wedding. It was a new beginning. Life didn't stop moving. Not for me. 2 months after the wedding, my mother passed away. A few weeks later, Patricia followed. Their absence left a quiet space, one filled with memories and regrets. But Kelly told me she was pregnant. Our child was on the way, hope was growing, Slow, steady. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in years, it felt like it might just be mine. 3 years have passed since that day in the hospital, since the moment I decided to walk away or stay. I lost a wife. I lost trust. I lost a part of myself I didn't know was missing, but I found something else. A son who needed me, not because of blood, but because of love. A woman who stood by me when everything else fell apart. And most importantly, I found myself again. Life doesn't give us control over everything, but it does give us choices. I chose to fight, to heal, to build a family, not perfect, but ours. And if you're watching this, if you've ever felt betrayed, lost, or broken, know this. You're not alone. Your story isn't over. It's only just beginning. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And share your story below, because sometimes the bravest thing we can do is to speak our truth.